Danvers State Insane Asylum. Danvers State Hospital in Massachusetts is old enough to have been variously known as the State Lunatic Hospital, Danvers Lunatic Asylum, and other such lovely monikers. In its most crowded period during the 1920s and 30s, there were controversies over its rumored use of shock therapy, drugs and frontal lobotomies. In fact, it may have been the birthplace of that procedure. Since its closure in 1992, it has fallen into a state of severe creepiness. And yes, disrepair. It was the setting for the excellent 2001 horror film, Session 9, and did a lot of the heavy lifting in generating a truly dreadful atmosphere. While there have been efforts to renovate the area, the spirits have not been kind to those efforts. In 2006, some structures were demolished, and apartment buildings put in their place. In April 2007, all of those buildings and several construction trailers went up in flames. Any efforts at renovation since then have largely stalled. Belitz-Heilstatten Military Hospital. This former sanatorium southwest of Berlin was built to deal with an explosion of tuberculosis in the late 1800s, and expanded twice throughout the next several decades. It was put to use as a military hospital during both World Wars. Adolf Hitler recuperated from a leg wound there, as a young soldier in 1915, and has doubtless seen its share of death, despair, and craziness. The hospital was under the control of the Soviet Union, until that country ceased to exist in the early 90s, and has stood empty since. Half-hearted attempts at restoration have played tug of war with plans to demolish the site, as over the years its creepiness factor rises steadily with its level of decay. Urban explorers love this place as well, and it's also been used as a set for the film, The Pianist, and a Rammstein music video, of course. Banner, India. While the abandoned town of Banner in the state of Rajasthan, India, has become something of a tourist attraction, you'll notice there are no photos of it at night. That is because setting foot in the place at night is strictly forbidden, and apparently the Indian government is pretty serious about it. Even though government rules state that the Archaeological Survey of India must have an office at every historical site, and this is one, there is no office here. Tourists are let in during the daytime grudgingly, but the general attitude of the government seems to be, this is a great place to stay the hell away from. Why? Legend goes that a heartbroken magician cursed the place in the 16th century, after being rejected by the kingdom's princess, and all who lived within it with death, without the possibility of rebirth. So people living here are cursed not just with death, but with super permanent, we're serious, game over for you death. A prominent sign outside the little town reads, entering the borders of Banner after sunset is strictly prohibited, and while they do not explicitly promise paranormal activity, we think following the rule is probably a good idea.